So it feels crazy to say that this is the 99th colorway that we see from Ronnie Fieg and ASICS. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sneaker Circle. It is your boy Danny back with another review. In today's review, we do have the Beverly Hills colorway. So this one coincides directly with the KITH store opening up at Beverly Hills. It's not the first store in LA, if I'm not mistaken, but it feels very Ronnie Fieg / KITH in terms of like color blocking and everything. Now let's get straight into this. I'm gonna get the shoes out of the box. Let's go a little bit over, Ronnie Fieg and his history with ASICS, what it all means, and what he did specifically to this shoe. So this is Ronnie's take on a remastered Gel Lyte III. So if you're not too familiar with Gel Lyte 3s, these were really popular here in the States. Pre-Adidas Yeezy, post Nike SB, so it was in that time frame where ASICS, Air Max 1s, they were really more popular here in the States, or at least they were thriving as much. It was called the runner era. In a sense, it kind of evolved into the Yeezy era because Ultra Boosts and basically the whole model of Yeezy 350s is kind of a runner silhouette. ASICS is known as a wrestling brand, a running brand. It has a lot of those histories behind it, and it is a brand right out of Japan. And Ronnie Fieg has been working with them directly since 2007. So in 2007, it wasn't really KITH and it wasn't really Ronnie Fieg. He was working with a person called David Z at the time, and it was kind of a golden era for ASICS in terms of models. It has a really nice silhouette, and it's something Ronnie Fieg tried to recreate with this release. So for reference, in 2000 and let's say 14, 15, I think 15-ish, ASICS kind of changed the way the Gel Lyte 3s and even the Gel Lyte 5s were. So it got a little bit bulkier. It got maybe not as narrow, maybe a little bit wider. It got a little strange and shape started coming off, and then quality started coming down a little bit, probably due to like a factory change or prices changing or materials changing. Whatever the case may be, in that time frame, we didn't really see a lot of ASICS from Ronnie Fieg or from other brands. We would see collabs here and there, but they weren't the best collabs compared to that golden era of like 2011 to 2014. So the whole purpose of this release, besides opening a whole new store, is that he's bringing back that new shape, or that old shape. It's called the 2007 Remaster. It kind of reminds me of what Nike's doing with like the Air Forces, how they have the 07 model. And it's funny because Ronnie Fieg did do this with the Nike Air Force One when he opened the South Beach location. He retroed Linens, which was a 2001 shoe. He retroed it exclusively for KITH, specifically KITH South Beach. And those are great. Those are probably one of my favorite Air Forces ones that I own in my collection. It had less material in the toe box. It had slightly better shape. And nowadays we're seeing, especially with the West Andes ones that came out last year, Nike and Air Force doing the same thing. So enough rambling, let's get straight into the shoe. And I must say, I really do believe he did a great job reintroducing this 2007 shape to us. It really does remind me of all the shoes I used to collect. I do have a comparison I'm gonna do after I go over the shoe, because I do have a pair of 2012 ASICS from him that I'm gonna show in a second. So straight into the shoe, we're met with a suede toe box. It is all perforated, so it's perforated here. All the suede accents and details are perforated, besides this lace detail right here, that's not perforated. We look at the inside of the shoe, perforated as well. You get the mesh right here. It's a leather tiger stripes, and it has a 3M liner. Classic. We see that in almost all of his old ASICS collaborations. It's funny because the tiger stripe itself the color's orange tiger, while the toe box is considered stone. This also looks like a type of stone as well. It's kind of close to like flamingo. So if I were to like compare this colorway, I would say the orange really reminds me of dolphins from the East Coast Projects pack. And this is actually maybe a slightly darker version of flamingos. This is in its own space. I don't really have anything that like reminds me of it, but that perforated suede is something he's really known for doing. So you do have, instead of having a suede or a cotton tongue, you do have kind of like this mesh. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I would have wished it was cotton. You do have Fieg right there, and I think the other shoe also has Fieg. I know it's been something he's been doing since like 2015, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not the biggest fan of him. I'd rather he not do that, but I mean, it's his shoe, who cares? Looking at the other shoe, you can kind of tell how it's a little bit like it's slender. It's a really nice toe box. Now, I will go into sizing a little bit later in the video. So on the back, you do have that ASICS, another 3M hint right here, as well as 3M hints right here. Now I must say, I know this is not on Fieg, it's more on ASICS itself, but the quality control on these it's terrible. And I have been seeing some people say their pairs are also really bad. Cause like, I don't think there's a section of either shoe on my example where there isn't like a glue stain, a scuff, another scuff right here. I think the actual on this one, this has been pressed down in the gluing process. So there's like a dent on it, which is like wild. There's dents here, around, more glue stains, more just black spots on the nubuck, which is, I don't know, it's wild. So it's weird because I never expect ASICS, even Gel Lyte 3s, to be crease free on the sole, because the whole process of the shoe, when they put everything together, puts pressure and it creates these little dents. But having like whole like marks on it, it's kind of like, feels a little bit out of pocket. The shoe does come with these like pumice stone flats that kind of match in between these two right here. So if I were to show you right there, it's kind of an in-between. Besides that, you do have the option of either rope laces, I think these are the winner for me, or white flats. It's not bad. Besides just remastering the shape as well, you also have a remastered box. So this box is from that same era. They normally change the box around 2013, 2014 time range. I think the first pair that had a blue box was the Soulfly Gel Lyte 3s. That was a Miami exclusive. That's the first time I ever saw blue box and I was like bewildered. So yeah, it's that same original box. It is a bit wider, so it's not as like narrow, because I remember those ASICS boxes, like you would have to like squeeze the pairs in. This gives you enough space, which is dope. Label is also changed. I think it's more of a Japanese labeling now, which is cool. I don't mind that. And a little cool detail is on the inside, right here. I'll see if I can show it. It does say SP Shoe Box and then in parentheses SPS KITH Remastered. So it's cool. I like that. That's a detail I can be on board with. Now these did retail for $190. Now I get he had to make a whole new shape or introduce a whole new shape back into ASICS like line, but 190 feels crazy for a pair of Gel Lyte 3s. For reference, back in 2013, we were paying I think 150, 160 maybe for a pair of Dolphins or Knicks or Flamingos retail, which they were incredibly hard to get at the time. These I ended up winning through the KITH raffle, so I think it's just as hard. But then like that initial 190 plus tax plus shipping, I was paying close to 220. So I'm like, I feel like I'm paying resale for a pair of ASICS, which I don't know. If you're a diehard ASICS fan, you might not mind because the shape is exactly what you want it to be. Quality control, not so much. But again, that's an ASICS thing. It's not really a Fieg thing. Another little thing that was kind of like dropped the ball on is I don't know if this is all pigskin suede and nubuck. It's something he really, really heavily promoted back in the day. So it was like Eclipses, pigskin suede, rose gold, pigskin suede. With the Fieg pack, pigskin suede. It was something that he was kind of like always pushing towards. It was always a material he was really like proud of. I don't think these are pigskin suede. They're still nice. It's still a pretty good quality, but I just feel like it's just one aspect I always liked. So I'm gonna get these out of the frame and let's start the comparing to the 2012 pair. So this is a pair of ASICS I've owned since 2013. They released 2012, winter 2012. They are the Total Eclipse by Ronnie Fieg. Probably one of the only pairs I have left, one of my favorites, and I just haven't been able to let these go. So off the bat, looking from a top perspective, this one's a size 10, this is a 10.5. Sizing seems pretty consistent with how it used to be. You can kind of see the shapes on that toe box. Now, do understand that this does have an actual shoe tree in it, so shapes might be a little bit pointier than normal. I mean, that's the goal, but even then, comparing these two, I don't think it's that crazy of a difference. Like maybe a slight difference, but the shape he's managed to get on these is really nice. Comparing the toe box as well, you have almost the same amount of space, so I feel like it's great. This is obviously a little bigger because it's half a size bigger. Size on the tongues itself seems pretty consistent. Like if I were to show you right there versus like how it looks right here. Another angle right here is where your heel actually lies in here. Almost the same height. If anything, the Eclipses are a little bit smaller, but that's a given. Something the newer ASICS did is like they lowered this so it wasn't riding as much on your heel, and I didn't like that. I didn't like the way it made your foot feel inside the shoe. But all in all, I think the shoe itself is a pretty good representation of what it used to be. So let's show back part right there. Let's go to the front. He did a really good job on this release, and it makes me really excited for his 100th colorway, the ones that open with the Design District store here in Miami. Those are being dubbed super yellows, basically the same layout as a pair of super greens, just with yellow instead of green. Crazy, I know. Innovation is wild. So let's talk quick about sizing, because I think this is a great release. I think it's fantastic, especially if you get a pair that doesn't have a lot of quality control issues. Sizing on these is not wide foot friendly. So one of the perks that the Gel Lyte 3 has is it doesn't have a full tongue. It kind of has like a sock liner tongue, and it splits down the middle. So for some people, the tongue itself does close on your foot like this, or leave a bit of space. Since I have a wider foot, it kind of opens just like that. I'm not the biggest fan of it. ASICS Gel Lyte 3s were the type of shoe that made me realize that, hey, maybe I have to start sizing for like a wider width on my shoe instead of just where my toe ends up. So throwing these 10.5s in, I'm like ended right here, versus like, let's say a pair of Dunks where I'll end right here, but you know, everything else fits on the side pretty well. So even though I got a 10.5 in these, I am gonna try to size up to an 11. So I'm not gonna be throwing these on the feet yet. I'll probably do a reel on them if I ever do get the size swap, but I know when I go to the Miami store and I get my pair, I'm gonna gun for a size 11. All right, so that being said, these are size 10. If you got a size 11 out there, let me know, we can swap. But besides that, I think I'm gonna call this video a wrap. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really like these, I really enjoy these. If you have a size 11 out there and you think it's a bit too big, I will swap this 10.5 for you. If not, thanks for making it to the end of this channel or this video. Please support the channel, like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one, and let's just call it a wrap. Peace.